Before we dive into this absolute mountain of news, I want to take just a second to say, if you're new here, welcome, hit that subscribe button right now because this channel is where Blue Jays fans come to get the real talk, the latest updates, and the good vibes when things are trending in the right direction. And folks, today, things are very much trending in the right direction. So smash that like button, get comfortable, and let's get into it because there is a ton to unpack today and you are absolutely going to want to stay until the very end. Alright, let's set the scene. The Toronto Blue Jays have been absolutely decimated by the injury bug to start the 2026 season. We're talking a level of bad luck that would make even the most optimistic fans sit down, stare at the wall, and question everything they know about baseball. Four starting pitchers began the year on the injured list. Their star catcher had thumb surgery. Their exciting young corner bat went down with ankle trouble. It has been, to put it politely, a rough opening act. But here's the thing about this Blue Jays squad, and here's what the haters and the doubters just don't seem to understand. This team is built differently. This team has been through the fire before. And yesterday? Yesterday felt like the moment this whole season started to turn. Because not only did the Toronto Blue Jays go out and absolutely demolish the Minnesota Twins by a score of 10-4 on Friday night, setting a season high in runs in the process, but the injury news that manager John Schneider delivered in his media availability was music to the ears of every single Blue Jays fan on the planet. And Schneider himself, a man who has had to deliver nothing but bad news for the better part of 2 weeks, actually prefaced the whole injury update by saying two simple words that hit like a walk-off home run. Finally, good news. Things are trending, in his words, in the right direction. And after everything this fan base has been through in the early weeks of this season, those words feel enormous. So let's start from the top and work our way through every single update, because there are multiple huge developments and each one of them matters. Let's talk about Yusei Kikuchi first, because this one is massive for the rotation. Kikuchi had a rehab start last Friday and by all accounts the reports coming out afterward were very encouraging. Now here's the key detail. He is going to make at least one more minor league start next week, and he will be going at least 70 pitches in that outing. The location, whether that's single A, double A, triple A, is still to be determined, but the level doesn't really matter here. What matters is the pitch count ramp-up. What matters is the fact that this could very well be his final tune-up before he returns to the Blue Jays rotation for his actual season debut. Now look, his minor league results haven't exactly been dazzling, and that's completely fine. Rehab starts are about getting the arm built back up, getting the mechanics sharp, getting the competitive feel back. The results are noise. What matters is the health, and right now the health looks good. Kikuchi ramping up to 70 pitches means he's probably just one strong outing away from being cleared to rejoin the big league staff. And when you think about what this Blue Jays rotation looks like right now, good but stretched thin, getting Kikuchi back is like landing a major trade without giving up a single prospect. Now let's talk about Jose Berrios, and this update is genuinely exciting if you understand what it means for the Jays' pitching depth. Berrios, who has been sidelined with a stress fracture in his right elbow since before the season even started, threw a 2-inning live batting practice session on Thursday and hit 95 miles an hour on the radar gun. 95. On a live session. Coming off a stress fracture. That velocity reading is not just good news, that is borderline jaw-dropping. And the next step is even better. Berrios is progressing to a minor league game assignment next week. So we're not talking about bullpen sessions anymore, we're not talking about throwing off a mound in Florida to nobody. We're talking about actual game action, with real hitters, with real pressure, with a real pitch count. This is the final stage before a major league return, folks. Whether or not you're the biggest Berrios fan in the world, and look, some of you have complicated feelings about him after last year's World Series, the bottom line is that Jose Berrios is a legitimate number 2 starter when he's right, and this rotation needs him desperately. His return is getting closer by the day. And then there's Shane Bieber. Now we don't have a hard update or a specific timeline on Bieber just yet, but we do know that he threw off a mound on Saturday and that is forward progress. Every session, every mound appearance, every bullpen outing brings him one step closer to being a real option for this team. When you layer Bieber on top of Kikuchi on top of Berrios, all potentially returning at different points over the next 4 to 6 weeks, you start to see something really exciting taking shape. This rotation, which right now is relying on Kevin Gausman, Dylan Cease, Eric Lauer, Max Scherzer, and Patrick Corbin to hold things together, is about to get a serious injection of reinforcements. And that changes everything about the ceiling of this ball club. But let's talk about the one that everyone really cares about, the one that is perhaps the most important update of all when it comes to the long-term health of this Blue Jays season, Alejandro Kirk. Now we already know the situation. Kirk fractured his left thumb on a foul tip back in Chicago, had surgery to have a screw inserted, and the general expectation has been a roughly 6-week recovery timeline. But here's the nuance that came out of Schneider's media session that's worth paying close attention to. When reporters asked Kirk himself whether the 6 weeks represents when he returns to the team or when he resumes baseball activities, Kirk admitted he's not entirely sure at this point. Which means that 6-week number is a soft timeline, not a hard deadline, and it could go either way. He could potentially be back before that window closes, or it could take the full 6 weeks and then some before he's ready to play. He'll be doing a lot of his rehabilitation work down at the Florida complex, and the team will have a clearer picture of his trajectory as the weeks go by. Here's the thing about Alejandro Kirk that's easy to take for granted until he's gone, and now he's gone, and suddenly everyone remembers. This man is the backbone of this baseball team. He is one of the most underrated catchers in all of baseball, a switch-hitting force behind the plate who controls a pitching staff like a veteran general, calls games at an elite level, and was an absolute monster during last year's playoff run when the Jays went all the way to the World Series. He batted .254 with 5 home runs, 13 RBIs, and an OPS north of .840 across 18 postseason games. That's not a catcher performing above his level in October, that's Alejandro Kirk being exactly who he is. Losing him for 6 weeks is a wound, no question about it. But knowing that he's on his way back, that the surgery went well, that he avoided ligament damage, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that's the kind of hope this fan base has been starving for. In the meantime, the job of catching for the Blue Jays falls to Tyler Heineman and a very exciting young player by the name of Brandon Valenzuela. And speaking of Valenzuela, can we just take a moment to appreciate what this kid did Friday night? Because it was absolutely electric. The Blue Jays were trailing 4-0 early. It looked like another one of those nights where the offense goes quiet, the team falls behind, and the fans slowly start turning off the TV. But then something happened in the 4th inning that changed the entire vibe inside Rogers Center. Toronto mounted a massive 5-run rally, and the centerpiece of that entire inning was a 2-out, 2-run home run off Simeon Woods Richardson by the 25-year-old rookie catcher, Brandon Valenzuela. His first career MLB home run. In just his 10th Major League at-bat, this kid sent one over the fence in right field and gave the Blue Jays their first lead of the game at 5-4. The dugout erupted. The crowd went wild. And the Blue Jays never looked back, going on to win 10-4 in dominant fashion, setting a season high in runs and matching a season high in hits with 9 of their 14 hits going for extra bases, including 7 doubles. Valenzuela was doused with sports drink by his teammates in that classic celebration scene that never gets old, and you love to see it. The Mexican-born switch hitter spent 8 years grinding through minor league baseball before getting his shot with Toronto. 8 years of work, of development, of fighting for his moment. And on Friday night, in front of a roaring home crowd, he finally got it. That homer also came in the middle of a chain reaction of clutch hitting, RBI doubles from Jesus Sanchez and Davis Schneider, plus an RBI single from Andres Jimenez, that turned a potential blowout loss into a come-from-behind statement win that this team desperately needed. And then Dalton Varsho added a leadoff home run in the 5th inning, the 100th of his major league career. A milestone moment for Varsho, who has had his own challenges to navigate this season. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. went 3 for 5 with an RBI, looking every bit like the MVP caliber player we know he is when he's locked in and hunting fastballs. Davis Schneider was absolutely everywhere, scoring twice, driving in a run, looking energized and locked in at the plate. His at-bats have looked fantastic for several games now, and this is exactly the kind of player you need stepping up when a key piece of your lineup is on the injured list. Schneider has answered the bell. And Tommy Nance, Joe Mantiply, Lewis Varland, and Braden Fisher combined for 5 scoreless innings out of the bullpen to slam the door shut after a shaky early showing from Patrick Corbin. Bullpen stepped up huge. Fisher, in particular, continues to be one of the most underrated arms in all of baseball. If you told 90% of fans across the league his name right now, they probably wouldn't know who you're talking about. But Blue Jays fans know. That trade for Fisher was a genuine fleece, and he keeps proving it every single time he takes the ball.